Hi, welcome to today's Quality in a Quick video series. My name is Bob Cruz, President and co-founder of Checkpoint Technologies. You know, in a previous episode, we had discussed the different SDLC, software development lifecycle models. And I gave you a brief overview during that episode of some of the different models. Well, today we're going to zoom in on one specific model, which is the waterfall model. So first I'm going to start off with the definition. So the waterfall model is a sequential design process in which progress is seen as flowing steadily downward, so like a waterfall, through different but very specific phases. It's very simple to understand and use, so minimal learning curve, and each phase must be completed before the next phase can begin, and there is no overlapping in the phases. The waterfall model is the earliest SDLC approach that was used for software development, so without a doubt the oldest. Now, let me chat for just a moment about the different phases in the waterfall process. Different experts are going to list different phases. When I began my IT career well over 25 years ago, the phases were typically identified as planning, analysis, design, development, and implementation, where testing was part of the development phase. I actually would remember the acronym PADDI, P-A-D-D-I, to help me out with that. Now, a simple waterfall model might be made up of 6 phases. So requirements, design, implementation, verification, deployment, and maintenance. An extended model might have conception, initiation, analysis, design, construction, testing, prod, implementation, and maintenance. So as you can see, it can be relatively simple or even more complex. Now, how is the waterfall model applied? So the application of the waterfall model would encompass situations where the use of such a model is most appropriate when requirements are very well documented, clear and fixed, technology is understood and considered static, and when there are no ambiguous requirements. With the waterfall model, some of the advantages would include that some of the major advantages, for that matter, would be that it's simple and easy to understand. I mentioned previously that the learning curve is really minimal. The phases are processed and completed one at a time, so it's very, very structured, but rather rigid. And clearly defined stages and well understood milestones are definitely an advantage. It's easier to track your progress. Some disadvantages, though, would include that development in such a model does not allow much for lessons learned. So if you compare it to Agile, for example, you're doing the different retrospectives where you're learning quite a bit and you're changing your approach. That's not the case with the waterfall model. You cannot easily revise the process as you're going and learning. 3 major disadvantages would include that there's no working software produced until very late during the life cycle. And if you've got some serious competitors, then that can be a huge disadvantage from a business perspective. It's also very difficult to accommodate changing requirements. Changing scope can be a real challenge. And that's where the term, I'm sure you've all heard the term scope creep. And another disadvantage is that integration is done as a big bang at the very end, which doesn't allow identifying any technological or business bottlenecks or challenges early on. So those are just some of the disadvantages and the advantages. I hope you found today's episode interesting. I definitely highly recommend do more research on the waterfall model. Make sure you understand if that is the model that your organization is using. If you have any questions, any topics you would like us to cover, please send us an email at this email address right here. And then also, here's some exciting events that Checkpoint Technologies will be hosting in the very near future. Thank you again for joining us and have a great day.